What was the very first thing you did when you went into work today?
So when I went in, I opened up my emails and I just responded to the ones that were most pressing. And then I checked Asana, that task list. I checked my tasks for the day and just decided what I should work on first and what could be kind of put off till more towards the end of the day. And then I had a meeting about half hour in. So we had our marketing meeting for the week.
What do you guys discuss in that meeting?
We have a general marketing meeting where we sit down and we discuss what everyone's working on for the week, talk about if there's anything that's blocking us from getting our job done, and we kind of ask and see if anyone has any answers about it or if they can help us out to finish project. And then the marketing director takes all of that information and he gives us a report so that we have something to go off of for the week.
What did you do after that?
Then we went back to our desk and kind of got started on our day. So that's why I did my planning before that, so that after the meeting I could just get started on my work. Today, so we just acquired a new partnership with a pretty big sports association. They basically determine the rules for all of the sports in high schools. And so we have a partnership with them as the apparel company. So what I was working on was prepping materials for events that we would be attending as partners of this organization.
Now, when you say materials, what exactly are you talking about?
For this specifically, I needed to make flyers about a promotion that we were offering specifically for this organization if people decided to try us out as an apparel company. So they were just flyers talking about who we are, what the promotion is, and then just giving them contact information. That's pretty much what I worked on this morning for that.
And what did you do after that?
Then I had a meeting, and this one was for that same organization about the events. So because this is such a large partnership, we have about 100 events to go to over the next year. And because it's so complex, we have a team of about 20 people that are going to be working on this. So the meeting today was about an hour and a half long, and we had 6 people there, and we just had to go over our huge plan, like determining who's working on what, who's in charge of what events we'll be attending. It's basically just a big picture outline of what's going to happen for the year. So we just had to make sure it was ready to go so that we could present it to the owner of our company. As the project manager went through everything, everyone else was welcome to ask questions, give their notes on things, and that's pretty much how it goes.
Now, when you say you go to events, what kind of events are you talking about?
Because it's a sports association, what they do is set up all of the, like, say you were a volleyball player, you would have your district tournament with just people, like just other schools that live near you. Then you'd have like your regionals and your championships, and they're the organization that sets all of those up. So where we fit into that is that we are able to sell merchandise at the events, like t-shirts, hoodies, things like that. So we would attend those events. And then there are other events where we have athletic directors of schools and coaches, more people that run the school programs, where we're able to just go and build relationships with them. So we kind of present our company as a brand, and we send out salespeople to those events just to meet with coaches, hoping that we get them as a client in the future. So those are the 2 events. It's like there's, championships and regionals, the actual sports events that we sell things at, and then there are like the relationship kind of events where we just go and it's to build brand awareness.
So what did you do after the meeting?
So I went back and I looked over my notes, and then my job was to edit the document from my point of view and send it back to the project manager.
What kind of document was this again?
This would be the big picture plan I was telling you about. So the document that we were reading through at the meeting, it had a description of the partnership. It had a flow chart of who's in charge of what, and then it had a list of the events for the year. It had all this stuff for like the whole partnership. So any notes that I was taking where we would need to make edits about who's in charge of what, or like if an event was on a different day, that's when I would, I took note of those different changes, and then I just added them to the document, and then I sent it back to the project manager.
What would happen after that as far as the whole process goes?
He would approve my edits, and then he would take it, then it would become a part of the presentation that we would have to give to the owner of our company so that he can approve it.
Did you do anything after that?
After that, I had a photo shoot today. So another part of our company, we develop catalogs, and this is how we actually sell to our customers. So if you think of a magazine that would come from, Express, like the store. So Express sends out a magazine. We send out a catalog, but it's like a sports catalog. So we have all of our products in there, and oftentimes we have to create original photos of the products we'll be selling that year. So we bring in models, and we bring them in for, 4 hours at a time. Today we only did 2. And we have a photographer, and he'll take all the photos, and then there's a whole process after that. But yeah, so today we just did the photos.
Now, how are you as the marketing person involved with the photo shoot?
It starts off with me getting the list of products that we have to take photos of from the merchandiser. And then I make the list, and then I tell the photographer what day I need him, and I pick an intern or another person to help me out that day. So then and I set up the models and everything. So we get them through a modeling agency, and I have to set that up. So then on the day of the photo shoot, I make sure everyone's good. I make sure all the shirts have been steamed by someone in production. I make sure the times are good. I make sure models are coming. And then when I'm down there, I keep track of the list and make sure we're actually taking photos of all the products we need. Someone else is guiding the models. They're like giving them the shirts and getting them on time onto the stage. And the photographer is there shooting.
Is there anything you have to do after these photo shoots?
You have to physically go in and name all of the photos, the correct name, like the product number, and if it's the front, back, or side of the product. This makes it searchable for when they're supposed to go on our website. So they have to be like a very specific naming convention so that the IT people can then find them in our server. And then we would also get them edited by our photographer, so they would, take out the background so it's plain white, and then fix any color issues. So at that point, it's like kind of my job and kind of the photographer's job.
So now you mentioned merchandisers. What do they do?
Their job is to stay on top of the trends, to relay information about changes in merchandise, and they get that information to marketing.
Now, did today represent a typical day for you?
I would say yes, definitely.
What was the first thing you did when you went into work today?
When I went in, I started off by opening all my emails, answering back the more urgent ones, because there were a few that needed answered immediately. And then I had a meeting with a graphic designer.
What was that meeting all about?
She was working on designing some more t-shirt designs for the partnership that we have. She's working on designing shirts for them. So I needed to meet with her to solidify which ones we would be moving forward with and giving her edit. After that, I had to go downstairs, and I actually was a part of a photo shoot this time for a few t-shirts that we had to take pictures of.
So you were the one wearing the merchandise, actually getting your photo taken this time? Is this something that you have to do normally in your job, or just every once in a while?
Every now and then, yes. I'd say it probably happens twice a month, but if we need just a few shirts modeled and we don't want to bring in models, we'll use someone from work.
What did you do after that?
Then I went back upstairs and I went into an office by myself because we work in an open setting, so all of our desks are open and we can talk to each other all day, but I just wanted to get through a bunch of my tasks. So I went to an office for about an hour and a half, and I just worked away on developing a creative brief of deliverables for the holidays.
A creative brief. What exactly is that?
So a creative brief would be a document, typically in a table format, where you would have like columns and rows. So you could do it in Excel, but you have a description of what a project is. You have a description of the goals and objectives. You have the target audience on there, and then you'll have like tasks or deliverables that need to be created or written, and it briefs over like what needs to happen in order to make that project be completed.
So after you got your own personal work done, did you do anything else after that?
Yeah, so I sent out an invitation to everyone this morning just saying that I would like to meet at this time to go over the creative brief. And then we sat down I quite literally read from the brief, and I was just giving them a description. A lot of them knew what it was because they were here last year to work on it. And then after I was done reading through it, I asked if anyone had any suggestions or edits. No one really did. And then I went through and asked who would like to work on which sections. And then I went back into that task website, Asana, after the meeting, and I created the tasks for everybody.
So what kind of goes into your overall marketing plans that you and the team discussed? And I know everybody has their different roles, but what kind of specific things do you guys put into these plans?
Yeah, so I'll start with social media. So we will be creating 2 Facebook posts and 2 Twitter posts to start with. Things change as the promotion goes on. So for that, we would need someone to create a graphic for it. So it would just have like the name of the store, a little bit of a description about the promotion, just something visual to post with the Facebook post. So a task would be writing the Facebook post. So that's on me. And writing the Twitter post, that's on me. And then I gave a graphic designer the task of making the graphic. So that's social media. We have a marketing specialist that does emails and landing pages. So his tasks were to create 2 emails and create a landing page. He just has to wait for the graphic designers to come up with the creative. So the graphic designers then are tasked with creating a banner for the store and creating different graphic elements for the marketing specialist to use when he then develops those landing pages and emails. So it's mostly things like designs that need to be done, writing that needs to be done, and web pages that need done.
So it sounds like you had a pretty busy day already, but did you do anything else after that?
Yeah, so for this partnership, again, I had to go in and schedule recurring meetings that will happen on Tuesdays and Thursdays every week. One is to go over what events are going to be happening and make sure that we evaluate the risks and we decide how we're going to mitigate them. And then the other one is to discuss the merchandise side of it to make sure that we know what shirts are going where, and then also discuss the risks there. So I had to schedule those to happen every week and send them out. That was about the end of the day. So I went into Asana and I checked off tasks that I'd missed and not kept up on and made sure they were done. And then I made new tasks for myself for the next day, and then I left.